Welcome, everybody, to the Competition Archery Media Podcast, where we explore all things pertaining to competition archery. And with us, we have a great guest, Chance Beaubouef. Chance, thanks for being here today.
No, it's no problem. It's my pleasure.
Tell us where you are and what your world is looking like these days.
Oh, I'm in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, here at home. To be honest, this whole shutdown stuff hasn't really affected me as much as a lot of other people that that in our lives. I mean, I've been practicing fishing and be turkey hunting this week, and it's affected me a little bit by going to the grocery store, stuff being kind of hoarders getting at stuff. But other than that, I mean, it hadn't really been all that awful. Just missing
Yeah.
tournaments.
Well, I have to ask about fishing because
Yeah,
we know every time this year you're going to see Chance and his dad with big, huge stringers of crappies.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of a yearly thing for us. That's something that my dad really loves to do, and I really enjoy getting to do it with him and spend that time with him. And I can't say that I don't love it too. So,
Are you
but
going to a bunch of places, or is there just one lake that's your favorite, or what? Where do you
we
go?
we live right in between two big lakes here in Nashville, but we mainly fish Percy Priest Lake, and we fish it. Believe it or not, most of the time we're catching them off the bank until
Okay.
they bring the pool up to summer pool. We can actually get out there and fish on the bank in a lot of places. It's like bluff walls and different places where the fish come in to spawn early.
Yeah.
But
You got to be eating fish like breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a month or something.
we we got quite a few. The freezer is packed full.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the tournaments. I mean, that's the part that we would have been at now. Outdoor nationals, outdoor nationals, NFA indoor nationals, and Paris. Oh, and London. We're hoping, fingers crossed, hoping that one gets in there.
Fingers crossed we get to shoot London. But I was really ready for indoor nationals, and I was also working hard for the ASA. Thereafter, the weekend after indoor nationals was Georgia, Fort Benning.
Fort
And
Benning. That's the one. Yeah, yeah,
it's kind of hard not knowing what to prepare for. They
yeah.
canceled Reading, so
Oh, right.
that
Yeah.
that was another one that usually takes a lot of time and preparation and getting stuff ready for that, and it's just completely different than any other venue that I shoot. So
Right.
it's a different bow, different arrows, kind of thing. But now I'm wondering if they're going to be able to shoot the IBOs, because that's something that I've also kind of planned on shooting this year is the IBOs. So I'm hoping that everything's back to where we can at least attend those and shoot those.
Yeah. Now how long has it been since you did the IBO circuit?
It's been a couple 3 years. It's been a little
Yeah,
while ever
yeah.
since I started the known pro. I you know for me, it takes a lot of time judging yardage to gain confidence in it, and to really get to where I'm picking numbers really well consistently.
Yeah.
I'll if I just put a little bit of work into it, I'll go out and I'll pick numbers really good, but then I'll have one bite me that's 3-4 yards and those hurt. So
Yeah.
it really takes a lot of time getting out there and looking at targets and trusting what you're seeing, trusting your gut.
Right. And now, when you're talking about you need your shot working well, what do you mean by that? There's so many of you guys in that known distance class who are as good as anybody. And I mean, anybody can win. There's probably 15 guys there that could win any tournament any weekend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For me, it's a lot of it is timing, um, getting my pin where I want it. But on 3D, you don't have a specific spot to look at.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can see rings. Most of the time, you can't. A lot of the times, you can see arrows to go off of, or shadows. But me is getting my pin where I want it, and then having my shot fire in the time that I'm mentally comfortable with it firing. The tendency is to pull harder when you get
Yeah.
nervous, and if whenever it's been harder for me to replicate a push pull type shot when I get nervous. If I can hit the valley and just kind of consciously think, relax, 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 it's easier for me to to fight the nerves, you
Yeah.
know, rather than pulling.
I didn't think Chance Beaubouef got nervous. You don't look like it.
We all get nervous. It's all how you handle it.
I believe 15 of 17 years you've shot 900.
Yeah, I shot 15. Yeah.
15. I don't even know where to begin with that. What does it take? Well, let's ask you. What does it take for you to shoot a 900?
Uh, well, your head's got to be in the right place for sure going into the tournament. I mean, it's the 900 is a byproduct. I don't. I think of the first 3 days as qualification. It's is I'm focused more on the Super X than I am the 10 ring.
Yeah.
If I focus on the Super X, then the 300 comes easy. But there are moments throughout the round, every year that everybody has errant thoughts. Your mind drifts. Don't do this kind of thing, and you have to constantly reinforce the positive stuff, and you have to constantly reinforce, think about something you can control, your shot, your execution, your follow through, focus on things feeling good. As long as you constantly keep positive things in your mind, it kind of keeps the negative things at bay. It makes it much easier. Some years have been really, really easy, and other years have been nightmares. So it kind of varies on.
Now, on the 2 years that you didn't make it, where did you miss your shots? What day?
One year was the third day, I believe, and one year was the second day. And that year, the second day, I shot a 299.29. So
Oh
that was
man.
one of those, just a big movement at the wrong time.
Either one of those stinks, but which is harder to swallow?
Day
Which
two.
takes longer to get over? Day two.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to go in there and go through the motions again the third day. When there's no, there's no possibility of winning the thing. It's just there needs to be a tap out button where you can just kind of go home or go do something else fun.
Well, you famously have said many times that when you were in your target panic phase that you would go draw back and just hold the pin and you wouldn't even shoot.
Yeah, yeah, I did that for a long time. I was having lots of problems with anxiety, with punching, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
I did that for a long time, just to make sure that I was through it mentally. Because when I had it, we weren't we didn't have the access to the information like it is now, with the getting on your cell phone and being able to Google anything, and watch videos and tutorials and all this on how to get through target panic. I was kind of feeling it out on my own. I had to figure out.
Yeah.
I knew something was wrong with me, but I had to figure out how to fix it on my own. So
We were talking, as I mentioned to Darren Christenberry the other day, we were talking about at the Lancaster Archery Classic 2, 3 years ago, you were in one of the finals matches and your release went off, shot over the bale into the wall.
yeah,
And I think you said that has actually happened to you a couple times.
yeah, it has.
What happens when that happens? What goes on?
It's just, I think it's where I hold my release so deep in my hand. Sometimes I get a little heavy handed with it when I start to draw back, and it just goes. But
Yeah.
it happens. It's thing part of shooting no click.
Well, I notice when you draw, A lot of times you can see people when they draw back, you can physically see the extra pressure on their first two fingers.
Yeah.
And when you hold it, it looks like you're holding a bar. Like I don't
Yeah.
notice that.
I'm pulling more with my index finger and my middle finger, almost like equal tension built on those.
Okay.
And I've got my thumb wrapped around the peg, which as soon as I get to full draw, I drop that. But yeah, I mean it's pretty equal tension, and my release is set, fairly heavy. I still feel a lot of movement once I hit the full draw and I start aiming. But
you do, okay.
Yeah, sometimes that thing will, every now and then, it'll sneak up on me. It seems like it happens during more pressure situations or whatever, where I get a little bit heavier handed with it. But
yeah,
it's one of those things. It happens.
Well, if I mention that, I also have to mention that what impressed me was that was like I think the third arrow of the first end.
Yeah.
And then you never missed an X through the rest of that match.
No, I mean,
and that always impressed me. I thought, I don't know how he kept it together, but you did.
Yeah, the arrow right after that one was the toughest one because I knew I would get heavy-handed with it. So once I got the full draw, it felt like it had a mile of movement in it before it fired.
Well, afterwards, you and Darren Christianberry walked off to the side. I happened to be standing there, and Darren said, "Oh man, Chance, I feel so bad for you. I don't know what to say." And I'll never forget your reply was, "Ain't nothing to say, brother. It happens."
It does. It does. You got to take the good with the bad.
You would have Vegas coming up. Is that incident gone? You're not thinking about it at all anymore.
No, it was in my mind a little bit going into Vegas. I was trying to figure out more than anything what caused it to happen.
Yeah.
Just so I could prevent it in the future. So whenever I got home, I actually, tinkered around a little bit for a couple of days, just trying to figure out what may have caused it. And I don't know unless, like I said, unless I got heavy-handed with it or something in my release pouch got in between the seer and the moon. A piece of trash or something. I don't know. It's hard to say what caused it, but I don't know. That was I've switched releases since. I've gone to that the Ascent, and I haven't had a single issue. I haven't had it happen a single time with the Ascent. So
is that right? Okay. What is it? We talked to Jesse Broadwater the other day about him shooting the 2-finger, going to the other extreme. What is it you like about the 4?
I've shot 3-finger models in the past, but I just never liked the feeling of not having something to do with my pinky, somewhere for it to sit. It was just always kind of awkward. One time I'd have it pointing out, and the next time it'd be relaxed, and the next,
Yeah.
So it was something that consciously I would think about when I got the full draw. It would feel weird one time, and of course that disrupted the whole shot sequence.
Gotcha.
So once I started shooting a 4-finger, it was just comfortable. I had, my whole hand had something to do. It was sitting somewhere, and I never.
What is there like a achievement out there that you have yet that you haven't, at a tournament you haven't won, or some kind of title? What's Chance Beaubouef striving for these days?
Well, I was this year. The goal was kind of ASA Shooter of the Year, but that's kind of gone. I don't know how they would do that, but I would like to win the IBO Triple Crown. That's something I've never won. I've won all of the IBOs. I've just never won, put them all together and won the Triple Crown. So I would like to do that. I'd like to win the ASA Classic. I've won over the years between them changing locations. I've won most of them, but not the Classic. I'd like to win that.
How will that be for you in a normal season? This one obviously is not normal, but let's say next year. How do you think that will be for you shooting known and known in the same season?
I don't think it'll be that bad. I mean, I started off this year. I would judge every target before I ranged it. Working on my yardage.
Yeah.
I judged every target at Foley. Before I ranged it, just working on yardage while I was in that situation, while I kind of felt a little bit of nerves.
Yeah.
Because practice does not always transfer over to the nerves you feel during competition. So once I got out on the range, I knew that I wasn't going to shoot the number that I was judging, but I knew that it always plays a factor on how you see numbers.
Right.
Just your kind of how much adrenaline you're feeling and stuff like that. So I judged all those, and I really don't think it's going to be that big of an issue for me, just because I can get now with the speed rule in IBO, I can kind of get one bow and roll it all the way across, as far as ASA and IBO,
Yeah.
and not be changing a lot. I'll still be practicing judging, daily when I'm out here practicing and stuff. So it's just a little bit more time is all, as far as putting a little bit more time into looking at numbers and getting comfortable shooting the numbers I'm seeing, having the confidence in them.
How was your judging in Foley? Were you pretty good?
It was good. There was only a couple that got me, but those ones are not always ones that'll get you on the course. You step up and judge it, but when you're actually judging yardage shooting in tournaments, I was always a lot more attentive to the things going on around me, as far as listening to, after I'd shot my target, listening to the next target, listening to the guys shoot it, just being more aware of what's going on. It's a lot more lax in the known pro. You kind of shoot and talk and all that, but in the unknown, I was always way more aware of what was going on, as far as somebody would shoot one, I'm like, oh, well, that got there a little bit quicker than I thought, so I'd take off a little bit yardage, or you just kind of learn to self-educate while you're out there looking at targets, and
Yeah.
the ones that just practicing that you misjudged aren't always the ones that would get you during the tournament.
We certainly look forward to seeing you at a tournament. We hope it's not too long, but until that time, we want you to stay safe and keep shooting.
Yes, sir. You too. Y'all be safe.